Good day, ladies and gentlemen. It's Daniel Umstead, host of the RNG radio show. Yo, I got another king on the RNG radio show. Been doing some fantabulous work in the real estate industry, more specifically in the multifamily industry. But before I get started, I got to run through his bio. You know, I got to boost up my folks before we get started. So born in Los Angeles, California, Jason Malabute, an MBA, seasoned real estate investor, an active philanthropist, and a CPA, that's certified public accountant for those that don't know. Jason has started his real estate journey in 2018, yes, 5 years ago, and studied real estate for a whole year before finally investing in 3 rentals, y'all, in the very first year of 2019 in Indianapolis. After successfully following the investment strategy called BRRRR, that is buy, rehab, rent, refinance, and repeat for multiple properties, Jason took the leap from single family to multifamily investing. He focuses on the Atlanta, Indianapolis, and Kansas City markets. Jason is also a general partner on a 106 unit deal in Atlanta. He's also the co-organizer of the Pasadena Glendale chapter of Multifamily Masters meetup group in Los Angeles. And he is a regular blog contributor for Biggerpockets and American Apartment Owners Association. He is also the head of accounting and financial reporting for Cashflow Champs. And you can find out more about him at jasonmalabute.com. But ladies and gentlemen, I got him here on the show right now. King Jason, how you feeling today, brother?
Man, you woke me up with that introduction. That was so much energy. That was amazing.
That's what I do, man. That's what I do. Listen, folks need to know how this relationship started. So Biggerpockets, shout out to them. When I was active on it, Jason obviously has been more active. So you see what happens when you're more active on Biggerpockets compared to somebody who isn't. But when I was active on it, me and Jason connected. We were supposed to have a conversation. Of course, Jason got busy. I got busy, but we're here today. But just to know that you need to stay in contact with your network and don't feel that because time goes by that y'all can't reconnect. So with that, Jason, tell me what you've been up to. Can you just, start with your journey as far as from being a CPA to becoming a multifamily real estate investor, and what just inspired that transition? A lot of folks, CPA is definitely a great job, to stay within continuously, but what inspires you to make that transfer and switch over to multifamily?
Yeah, so let's start from the beginning, right? So I grew up with cerebral palsy, and my dad always used to tell me growing up, like, hey son, you're gonna have a hard time finding a high-paying job compared to your counterparts due to your disability. So he always wanted me to get into some kind of entrepreneurship. So I had the entrepreneurial mindset. Even as a kid. However, I didn't know what kind of business I wanted to start. So fast forward to when I was gonna go to college, I didn't know what I wanted to be. So my mom suggested that I become an accountant so that so that I can understand money better, So like at the time I didn't I didn't have any other better ideas, so I said, okay, I guess I'll be an accountant, even though I didn't know what an accountant was. So fast forward, I graduated college, I got my CPA. I was working at a accounting firm in Los Angeles. I was doing one of my clients' tax returns, and I noticed that my client was making a lot of passive income from the rental property, and they were making that money regardless of if they worked or not. So that caught my attention. And then in 2018, that's when I started to study real estate. I said, this is an interesting game that I want to be a part of. So now I have to learn how to play this game. So, so in 2018, I started, watching every Biggerpockets podcast. I was posting so many questions in Biggerpockets. I did that for like a whole year. I was reading all the books. And in 2019, I finally put my big boy pants on and I started buying property, single family homes in Indianapolis, Indiana. I was using my own money because I knew that I was green between the ears and I I knew that I was gonna make a lot of mistakes, which I did. And then from there, I got my education from the School of Hard Knocks, and then in 2020, I realized that I wanted to transition from single family to multifamily. So that's when I started working with my first mentor, Sterling White. And then from there, I started working with people like Charles Seaman, who is my partner now, David Monroe, which is another mentor of mine that taught me how to analyze the market properly. Then I was looking for my first multi-family deal, Daniel, for about 3 years. And then for 3 years, I could not find anything to pencil out. I must have underwritten like 300 deals. And it was constant up and down. And then I remember I was so ashamed to go to like family gatherings during the holidays because like they would ask me stuff like, "Hey, how's the real estate business going?" And every single year I would tell them, "Oh, I'm still looking, I'm still looking," and then that would kill me. And then finally, in, um, in August of this year, I finally closed on a 106 unit deal in Atlanta. So the moral of the story is obviously it's first is education. You have to know what you're doing, and number two is perseverance. Business, real estate, life in general has a bunch of ups and downs, and when you hit those downs, those are tests. It's a test from God to see how much do you really want this, and if you're able to push through those lows, that's when you will see the most growth.
I love that. Jason, thank you so much for breaking that down because you and I both know, and we've definitely come across those individuals that, they see Grant Cardone, they see, they hear the Biggerpockets podcast and, they hear like these great testimonials, even such as yours. But the breakdown in getting there is key and important. You had mentioned, you took a whole year to educate yourself. Some folks will go to this weekend guru, spend $5,000 on a class and say like, okay, I'm good to go. I'm ready to get out there. But you took a year to understand the business. Although you had, the number of knowledge, from your background being in accounting, but you took an additional year to make that happen. And then 3 years, just toughing it out. That speaks a lot. And I'm hoping folks, ladies and gentlemen, that you're paying attention that it's not a quick turnaround game. I think even when we had connected was that 3 years ago, but you did what you were supposed to be doing. You're asking questions, you're inquiring about it, and you're staying on the right pathway. So we briefly kind of touched on like challenges, switching from, because I mean, you were, still in the market. It just was single family at the time. But when you're asking questions and you're going through education and stuff, specifically, what types of challenges did you face making that transition from single family to multifamily?
Well, the biggest difference between single family and multifamily is track record, right? Because when you're in single family, anybody can get into single family. That's why most people think about real estate, they think about single family because that's the most accessible. They don't really care about your track record because we because as long as you have access to cash, then you can go out there and buy a single family house. However, when you get into multifamily, especially when you start looking at, 20, 50, 70, 100 unit deals, 200 unit deals, then the broker or the seller is going to look at you and evaluate not just your offer price, but to see your track record. Have you done this before? Have you done a deal of this size before? Where you can get the funding? Do you have investors lined up ready to pull the trigger? So that's why mentorship is so important, because you want to work with a mentor who is active in that market right now today, because because there's a lot of mentors out there who haven't done a deal in 10 years. So what they're teaching you is great, 10 years ago. However, it's not really going to help you in today's market, especially if you try to leverage their name. Brokers and sellers are not going to be familiar with the name because they haven't bought anything. So you want to work with a mentor who has a current track record when you're starting out. And that's what I was able to do with the Cashflow Champs, because I was able to find a way to add value to the team. And then ultimately I was able to be a part of the team, which gave me access to leveraging their track record.
Awesome. I love that. And, the key thing that I want folks to realize is birds of a feather flock together. So you got to partner with the right individuals. I'm definitely very familiar with Charles Seaman. I think when I was like getting started, and I had psoriasis analysis, I'm not going to lie to anybody, I was seeing the videos and I kept just saying like, all right, after this underwriting deal, that Charles is reviewing, I'm going to get into it. And, or you hear something brand new and you're like, wait, what's this terminology? And then you're doing research on that. But, folks should realize that with the right team, you got enough to be dangerous. And now, Jason, with the 106 unit deal you got underneath your belt, it's just going to be overflow, because now you have that track record. And the saying goes, for those that get into multifamily, it just takes one deal, whether it be the 2 unit, 3 unit, 4 unit, or 106 unit deal. It's just going to take that one deal to get you to the next step. Jason, if you can, though, what was your key to your success? We're talking 3 years later, we're talking 300 underwritings, probably more than that, which you probably didn't even realize, and also many questions that you pretty much had to ask. If you could narrow it down, you know, what would you say your key to your success was in landing this 106 unit apartment deal?
My determination. That's something that my dad always told me when I was growing up is my determination is my biggest asset. That saying has made so much of an impact in my life that I actually got it tattooed on my ribs. That's how much of an impact that has made in my life, and that's so true because I remember for like the last 2 years were nothing was going for me. You know, I couldn't find a deal. I wasn't making any money. As a man, you know, as you know, so much of your social value comes from how much money you make. So it was soul crushing for 3 years, no success, and I felt like I felt like I was at the bottom of the bottom, but like I had this image in my head of the man I wanted to be, and that man was a real estate investor. This man was successful, multi-family investor, and I would always think of him. I would always think of him, picture him in my mind before I went to sleep. And then, um, and then, and then, you know, every single time that I would hit an obstacle, I would always picture that image in my head, and that I would do everything to make sure that I become that person because failure it's not an option for me. You know, like especially when you grew up with a cerebral palsy, because like what is the alternative? The alternative is me working a low paying job, and then being viewed a certain way. No, like I can't have that happen because I have my family depending on me. I have people looking up to me as an inspiration, as a motivation, and I can't let them people down. And lastly, you know, I believe that that God put me here for a reason. You know, where God wrote a story for me, and that it's up to me to live up to that story that uh, God designed for me. So I can't fail Him either.
Wow. Amen, bro. Amen to that. I'm not getting emotional because if I do, because it's my show, so I don't cry on my show. I'll probably cry later when I'm reviewing it. So right now, I'm being manly, masculine. So no, man, that is extremely touching, Jason, because you know everybody's got excuses. I've had excuses, you know. It was either, you know, my divorce in the past, or it was either because I don't have enough time. I'm always hearing from everybody. You're always hearing from everybody. Oh, I don't have time to look at this, or I don't have time. I don't have time to check this out. Or my job is overloading, so I can't get into this. But you were determined, you know, and you kept that mental image of yourself, you know, and it came to pass. And above all, listen, man, we preaching today. It's not even so much family and friends and folks looking up to you. You can't you can't. I'm trying to get this out without getting emotional. You can't let God down. God, as you said, God wrote out this story for you, you know, and it's not so much, of course, something would have came in line where God was saying like, hey, that image you're thinking of is not working for you, but you're thinking about it day and night. You're waking up with this image of a multifamily real estate investor. you're going to sleep of this image of a multifamily real estate, and now you are this multifamily real estate investor. So, can you share even more so, because as you had mentioned it, with your experience with cerebral palsy, like with that, I'll say with that quote unquote excuse, if you will, because obviously you are a real estate investor. But with that, how has that influenced your decision, to pursue a career in real estate? How come it wasn't anything else as far as like maybe starting your own accounting firm, since you do already have that background? Why have this cerebral palsy in your life? And it's like, hey, I'm gonna do real estate. Why did you do that, man?
Um, why real estate? Um, I can't tell you like why exactly that was my calling. That was just my calling. When I started to like learn about it, I just really got to become obsessed with the business. I found out about the cash flow advantages. I found out about the how you can build, your net worth, generational wealth from real estate. And also since I have a CPA background, obviously I really love the tax advantages also of being a real estate investor. And it's a shameless plug, by the way. On November 13th, I'm gonna have a webinar on cost segregation, and I would love for you guys to be there. But anyways, and your question about how has cerebral palsy impacted my impacted my life decisions and career choice. I feel like sometimes it's a curse, and but most of the time it's a blessing, right? Because meaning, cerebral palsy really pushes me to become the best person that I can be, because when you go up with cerebral palsy, society looks at you a certain way. Um, they see you as somebody from here. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure that you know this, Daniel. Like, in the in the um um, in the black community, there's a saying that goes that you have to work double as hard just for you to
Yeah.
just for really getting a same amount of recognition. Well, like it's very similar to me too. um, I feel like I had to work 4 times as hard
Yeah.
just just to get the same level of recognition as somebody else. So like that's a blessing, but then of course there is a downside to it too, which is I always feel like I have a chip on my shoulder that I always have to prove people wrong, so that's something that I'm working on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah. No, and your branding. I mean, I know we didn't talk about it before, but your branding and marketing, Jason Malabute.com. But your branding and marketing, kind of speaks for itself as well, because you find humor behind it. Y'all need to go check out Jason's Instagram and him dressed up as Lil Wayne for Halloween.
Oh,
Dead on, bro.
young young thug.
I was cracking up. I'm like, this is a cool brother. This is a cool brother right now. But no, it's and as you say, and excuse my words before, it is a blessing, and you said it right. In the black you got to work twice as hard. And people see it. You know, we have colleagues and peers. I have colleagues and peers who are around my same age, but because they are Caucasian counterpart, you know, they're at a higher level. They may have had a greater advantage than me, maybe a different pathway, you know, and it's no excuse or blessing, but, you know, we got to work twice as hard. You know, with your blessing, you got to work 4 times, maybe even 5 times as hard, or as Grant Cardone put it, 10x, 10 times as hard. I want to take it back a little bit. You had mentioned Cashflow, specifically Cashflow Champs. I know that you guys have a mentorship program. Can you speak on that a little bit more as far as, you know, typically what happens with that? To give a little bit of a peek for those that don't know, with Charles Seaman, he really just breaks down the underwriting, and that is from soup to nuts in regards to the rent roll, the T12, you know, what the capital expenditures are. But now that Jason, that you're a part of it and you're seeing more inside of it, can you explain what the truly the advantages are for folks to be a part of Cashflow Champs?
Yeah, so a biggest advantage of you being a part of the mentorship program is a first it's an education and two it's a hands-on experience, right? So like when you are working and that you're learning from a mentor who has done, you know, who's done 17 deals, who has went through 8, you know, full cycle deals, which is just a fancy word of them saying that they have went to purchase and sell of the property. That's all that means. Um and also I have exciting news for everybody. I mentioned to you that some of my previous mentors were Charles Seaman, and also David Monroe, who taught me how to analyze the market that you're investing in, meaning how do you look at what is the population growth of a market? How do you determine job job demand and the job growth in the market? How do you look at previous recessions and what happened to job growth in the market in previous recessions? Those are things that David Monroe taught me. I have exciting news for everybody um because Cashflow Champs is actually going to be combining their mentorship program with David's strategic partnering program, so you can get the best of both worlds now. And actually next week, which is November 6th to the 9th, we're going to be offering a 4-day free multifamily workshop. And I would love for you to be there, David. And I'll send you the link to it. And you're going to get so much knowledge from it. It's going to be an amazing workshop.
I love that, man. I love that. Yeah, I'll definitely have the information at the bottom of the video. And tell me, also for wrapping up here, you know, you got this 106 unit deal on your plate, you know, recently as of August 2023. We're talking, you know, a few months back now, and you're a mentor. And of course, you know, there's going to be more deals because all you need is one, as we talked about before. How do you get that balance? You know, there's always this saying in the corporate world, you know, people should have a healthy work-life balance, but when you're in multifamily real estate, it's really hard to, create that balance because you're either getting calls or, you being the GP, you're getting calls from limited partners. So, and then in addition, you got somebody who's a mentee who's saying like, hey, I had a question on what should I do about toilets? Should I replace them? So you're getting hit left and right, with questions and inquiries. How do you yourself balance pretty much between the real estate investment side and you being a mentor?
Um, um, Work-life balance, Daniel, is bullshit. Uh, um, um, the only people who have work-life balance is people who are mediocre, people that are below mediocre. So like if you look at successful people, regardless of the race, regardless of the profession, whether it's Grant Cardone, whether it's Kobe Bryant, whether it's Jay-Z, um, whether it's Warren Buffett, it doesn't matter. None of these people have work-life balance. All these people are obsessed with the craft, and all they do is perfecting their craft. Let me tell you a quick story, right? I remember I remember a few months ago. A few months ago, I was doing my regular routine, waking up at 4:30 in the morning, 5 o'clock. I had a staff meeting with my VA at the time. At 5:30, I was watching Cardone University. 6 o'clock, I went for my run. 7 o'clock, I was walking to the gym. Right, me, somebody who has a core disability has accomplished so much at 7 a.m. and is now going to the gym to get his workout in. Well, when I was crossing the street, I crossed paths with a homeless person, and I'm definitely not taking shots at the homeless person because
Right.
I don't know what's his story. I don't know how he got to where he is at now. But just looking at it from a high level, I was crossing paths with this man um who was able-bodied, who was walking just fine, and then here I was, somebody who has somebody who had who could have every excuse that they could use, who's trying to be as productive as possible, trying to do so much out within the same 24 hours that was given to this guy. And um, I can guarantee you that as a homeless person before he became homeless was probably more concerned about work-life balance, and that here I was, and I don't care about work-life balance. All I care about is success. That's the only thing that matters to me is success, and me being in a position where I can take care of my family. I can be an inspiration to people. That's all I care about.
I love that, man. Love that. And you, folks ain't getting offended, and if you are, oh well. But you're absolutely right. You know, when you're obsessed with your craft, you're not worried about what time it is at night. You're not, you know, concerned with the alarm clock. Especially when you have a passion, whether it be for your career or whether it be for your craft. You know, you're just obsessed about it. You love what you do. You're doing further information on it. You're doing further digging on it. So if y'all didn't hear that gem, feel free to rewind and listen again. So in addition to that, gem, you know, as we wrap up for the final question, any advice could you give to somebody who's getting started in multifamily real estate? I got a lot of folks, you know, who listen to the podcast, you know, they're just trying to find, you know, their first step in it, or they've been doing a year of, you know, researching, reading all the books that are out there and still don't know how to kind of pull that trigger to get started. So what advice would you give to folks?
Yeah, the biggest advice I can give somebody is to join a mentorship program. If you don't want to join my mentorship program, that's fine with me. As long as you're going to be working with somebody who is experienced, who's doing deals in the market today, and also it's going to hold you accountable because, for example, if you join my mentorship program, and then the second that I see you slacking off in the mentorship program, I'm actually gonna call you. I'm gonna call you and say, hey Daniel, you told me that you wanted to get into multifamily, and I'm not seeing you putting in the work that's needed for you to become successful. Is everything okay with you? You know, so I'm really gonna take up on you, make sure that everything is good with you, and yeah, I'm gonna hold you accountable. So make sure that you're gonna be joining a mentorship program that it's gonna hold you accountable, just like how I'm gonna hold you accountable. I would say that that's the biggest thing that you can do for yourself because listen, you guys, everything has a risk, right? Whether you invest in real estate, stocks, somebody's business, that all has risk. The only investment that does not have a risk is when you invest in yourself. That's the only thing where you cannot lose money because you're getting education, and later on, as long as you don't give up, you can then monetize the education, and that you can make that money back plus more.
Thank you. Thank you, man. Gem after gem after gem, brother. So listen, I want to thank you again for coming on the RNG radio show. What is up with for those there we go. I want to thank you again for coming on the RNG radio show, man. Really appreciate having you here, and definitely looking forward to you coming back on the show, my brother.
That's thank you for having me, man.
Thank you for tuning in to the RNG radio show. Be sure to like and subscribe for more episodes and future content. If you'd like to learn more, visit us at danielumstead.com. Stay blessed, my fellow millionaires.